Judge cranks one. Deep left field. A grand slam.
Bases loaded. Hits the stand. Swung on. And drilled deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
Lost. You're not going to hit the ball. You're going to swing and miss.
Now it's Chisholm. High drive. Right field. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to the 11th Vinny Talks Yanks. I'm your host, Vincent LaRose, and we have gone and been through another week, 6 games after the end of today's game. Another week of baseball, and to start, we'll get into a little bit of a recap. Series against Arizona, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Game 1. Game 1 we lose. Rodon starts that game. He gives up 2 runs in the first 2 innings, I believe, and then he shut Arizona down. Going 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, a couple walks, I believe. End up giving up that game. Mark Leiter Jr. ends up giving a grand slam to the Red Hot in Suarez, and we end up losing that game. We lose Game 2 as well. I believe Warren started that game. I don't remember the final score of that game. We end up losing that, but we take Game 3. A little thing to note about Game 3. I thought this was really cool. So there was reports that before the game had started, Giancarlo Stanton gathered everybody in the clubhouse and basically just said, we don't get swept at home, so step it up. And we ended up scoring 9 runs that game, winning 9-7, so we salvaged the 3rd game of that series. So I thought that was really cool. Stanton's not really, we know Stanton's not playing right now, but still in that leadership role, which is always good to have. It's always very good to have a veteran presence. And, somebody just in the clubhouse to really just, say stuff like that. I know Anthony Rizzo was kind of that guy for the past couple of years. You have Judge as always the captain, but it's cool to hear stuff like that with Anthony Rizzo, with Giancarlo Stanton, and stepping up even when he is not playing. So yeah, it was really cool. So the Yankees continued on with their absolute mashing, and even though losing 2 games in that series, we set MLB records for home runs through first 6 games, runs through first 6 games, etc. Just our offense is, other than today's game, of course. I think we're going into the top of the 9th now, 4-1 as I'm recording this, but offense is doing really good, which is weird because that's not what we thought coming into the season. So, anyways, on from the Arizona. Then we come into Pittsburgh with today being the 3rd game. We won the first 2 games with ease. Aaron Judge, 3-run home run Game 1, just continuing on. We're averaging 9 runs a game, not anymore after today's game, but we were averaging 9 runs in the game, 9 runs a game, which is the best in MLB, and the offense just seems to be clicking. Andrew Heaney shut us down today, props to him, pitched well. You're not going to win them all, so, but, through the first week and a half of baseball, we're 6-3, which, is good. I'm not upset about that at all. We're first in American League East. Not that it really matters. Only 9 games in, but the offense looks really good, and it continues to look good, which is good. So as I said before, we're just broke a couple MLB records as team wise to start the season. I know Anthony Volpe, they were showing today, has the most has the 3rd most extra base hits in Yankees shortstop history, behind Jeter and Didi. He has the most RBIs period through the first 8 games. Volpe looks really good, and as we've seen, his defense is immaculate. So now it's nice to see him stepping up in a big role and playing very well. Truthfully, he's playing well. Jazz looks good. Judge is Aaron Judge, best player in baseball, so he looks really good. Cody Bellinger had The back thing I'll get more into and the injury update, the first 2 games, but he looks good. He was playing a good outfield, so I'm not upset. And Dominguez is starting to look a lot better. Today he looked terrible, but over the past 5 games he looked really good. Grisham, just coming out of nowhere, it's just, I want to say this about Trent Grisham. I think it's very, something not said much about him. He looks disgusting. I don't even know how to explain how his center field play is. Every time I watch that man just drift to a ball, go catch a ball, looks like he's not even. It's for some guys. Some guys where it would be a highlight play for some. Trent Grisham makes it a routine play. He just looks so comfortable in center field. Looks so nice out there. I know in high school and in college they tell you, oh, don't drift to the ball. Drifting to the ball is bad, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Trent Grisham's so good, he can drift to the ball with his eyes closed and still make the play. I mean, he looks so good in center field. It's really cool to watch. And on top of that, now we're getting offensive production from him as well. Getting another hit today. I think he's hitting about 450 on the season. He's only played 5 games, but I think 5 of those games are... He's only started 3 or 4 games maybe, but he was defensive replacement in the other for Dominguez, which I want to get into that a little bit. Let me finish the Pirates series though. But we take game 1 and 2 of the Pirates series, start the road trip off good. It's freezing there. The bats still stayed hot, still played well. We got lucky. We got to skip Paul Skeens, even though Andrew Heaney carved us up today. Rather have just seen Paul Skeens because at least it would have been fun. Because watching 11 strikeouts to Andrew Heaney is quite aggravating. But offense still looks good. I'll get into the pitching in a minute. But anyways, I wanted to get into a little bit of the Dominguez situation. So I read some stuff the other day. Maybe it was Wednesday night, Thursday morning. It's a little whittled down now. But some fans were upset with Aaron Boone because he took Dominguez out in a defensive replacement, and I believe the top of the 7th or 8th inning in game 1 of the Arizona series. Ends up Mark Leiter Jr. gives up a grand slam. I think we were up 42 at that we were up 43 at that point. Now we're down 7-4, down by 3 runs. Bottom of the 8th, or maybe it was the bottom of the 9th, we end up losing 7-5. Bottom of the 8th or 9th, I don't remember which inning, Trent Grisham then comes up for Dominguez in his spot in a chance to either, I believe, just in a chance to make a difference, an impact in the game, and I believe he struck out. So a lot of fans were quite upset because, you don't take Grisham out, you have Dominguez in that spot, and to that point, Dominguez had shown signs of life with hitting the ball. So some fans, what I was reading are quite upset, and you know how Yankee fans are, so it's like, oh, Boone doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. So I want to touch up on that a little bit. Dominguez looks terrible in left field. He looks better as of late. These past couple of games, he looks a lot more comfortable, but I don't remember if it was either the 3rd game of the Milwaukee series or the first, or that Diamondback series. I don't remember exactly which game. It's a routine fly ball to left field. Not paying attention, catches it down around his chest, and nearly drops the ball. And he realizes this and pulls a big old grin out on his face. But he's not comfortable. He doesn't look great. And I want people to understand this. As a coach, you're confident in your players' abilities, okay? And you're aware of your players' abilities, okay? I know this is going to sound a little contradicting, based off the decision with Dominguez and the bullpen decision, but as a manager, you're going into the game at that point with a lead, and you want to hold the lead with whatever it takes. You're confident in your bullpen to continue to hold that lead. You don't want to put your bullpen in a spot to where Dominguez is in left field and he either misplays a fly ball, doesn't make a play, or anything happens, and now you're in a spot to lose the game because of the defensive scenario. You're not planning ahead because you're not planning ahead for the batting order. You're not thinking about any of that. You're thinking about, what do I do here to hold this lead and win the game? So in that term, and on those terms, Boone decides to take Dominguez out, put Grisham in center, and move Cody to left. Did it end up mattering? No. Mark Leiter Jr. ends up giving the grand slam, and we end up losing 7-5 anyways. The argument was that if Dominguez stayed in left field, at least he would have had the opportunity in the bottom of the eighth. Again, I think it was a bottom of the eighth. Maybe it was a bottom of the ninth. Given the opportunity to come to bat and make a difference in the game with his bat instead of his glove. Which 100%, again, I understand the frustration there. But again, you're not at that point. When you make that first decision, you're not thinking we're going to lose the lead. You have confidence in your bullpen. But you don't want a defensive liability to hurt you in that sense. So you end up taking him out for, again, as I said, one of the best defensive center fielders I've ever watched. Trent Grisham is not talked. His defense is not talked about enough. How just smooth he is out there. I mean, he reminds me a lot of watching guys like Kevin Kiermaier. Even Kevin Pillar is not talked about how good their center field defense was. Outfield defense in general. So, just want to speak on that a little bit. I'm not worried about Dominguez. I think over time he's going to be I don't think he's going to be a great defender. I know they were asking Boone the other day, we're taking him out, and Boone's like, no, it's just now. He's uncomfortable now, but he has the ability to be a great defensive left fielder. I don't think we're going to see him. We're going to put him in the great spot. He reminds me a lot of a guy who just got released, actually, Esteury Ruiz. I don't remember who picked him up. I think it was... I don't remember who picked him up, but just super fast, hit the ball hard, just... his tracking the ball, he looked like completely lost. That's just kind of what I seen. Just when he tracks the ball, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. I will say this, playing left field compared to center field, because he came up as a center fielder, is a little bit different. Center field, you can see the field a lot better. It's a lot easier to tell if a ball's trailing from you, how far the ball is. Coming from my own experience, at least. Granted, I never played against guys hitting the ball 100 miles per hour, but it's different. But I don't think, come the end of the year, I don't think Dominguez is going to be pulled from games. I don't think that's going to be the scenario. I think he's going to show enough with his bat and show enough improvement in the field to where you're not so worried about him playing left field. But I just wanted to touch up on that. I have no worries with Dominguez, and I don't have any anger towards Boone for making that decision in that moment. Next thing I want to touch up on, I think it's a little funny and ironic. Coming into the season, I think all of us would have said, wow, our pitching is amazing and our offense needs some work. Now, as the first 10 games are through, 9 games or whatever, I think it's a little bit of the other way around. I'm a little worried about our starting pitching. I know Will Warren's a real prospect. I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher, but watching him pitch was a little aggravating. Game 2, or no, I'm sorry, game 1, of the Arizona series. He looked good. He only gave up 2 runs. He only got through 5 though. He had 4 strikeouts, but he had 4 walks. I will say this: watching him and Marcus Stroman is this is how I'm gonna compare it. Marcus Stroman knows he doesn't throw hard, relies on movement and location to get hitters out. That's why you see him in a lot of 3-2 counts. You see him jammed up a lot of pitches by the 4th, 5th inning. He does it on purpose, though. That's the thing with Marcus Stroman. He's not trying to hit the corner. He's trying to get just off the outside corner, just off the inside corner, enough to either trick the hitter or trick the umpire. That's his goal. Will Warren just seems a little erratic to me. From the windup, it's nails. I mean, the fastball looks good. The slider looks good. He has the changeup as a good third pitch. He looks good. And then the second he gets into the stretch, anybody on base, it's just like he loses it. It's, sliders in the dirt over and over and over again. Fastballs. It's like watching him crumble apart is tough. I'll use today's game as an example. Almost was perfect through 3 innings. Has 1 walk. All right, 1 walk. Big deal. then it falls apart. Just falls apart. I mean, he didn't give up a bunch of runs, but just watching him pitch, you can tell against, like, if we're going against a team like the Dodgers or the Phillies, the Braves, the Mets, teams with really good offenses, he would have got crushed. You could just tell. So I'm a little worried about that. Carrasco's Carrasco. We know what we're going to get from Carrasco. He's a feel-good story. We'll see what happens. He pitched well against the Guardians, and I'm sorry, not the Guardians, against Arizona. And I'm not upset. He's a veteran. He's calm, cool, and collective. It's just Warren seems a little erratic. I'm not saying his emotions are getting the best of him. Just thinks like it's almost like he's thinking too much on the mound, and it reminds me a lot of 2016, 17, Severino, where you're watching and you're like, you got all these. I mean, the different pitchers. Don't get me wrong. Severino has all this overpowering stuff, almost like Hill too. Compared to Hill, overpowering, just erratic at times, but it's overpowering. So you're getting guys to swing at ridiculous pitches. You're getting guys to swing way over the top of ball. Well, sorry about that. I left to go watch the end of the Yankee game. They ended up scoring 3 runs in the top of the 9th, and an attempt to come back. Grisham continues to stay up, hot, tying the game up for the Yankees in the 9th, but Devin Williams ended up giving a walk-off single to Tommy Pham. But anyways, I said what I had to say about Warren. He's likely going to get sent down when Clarkie comes back, so either he's getting sent down or we're going to send a reliever down and throw Warren in the bullpen. But yeah, so that's that with the last 6 games, the last series, 2 series. So I wanted to get into the injury update so far. So it has been said that Giancarlo Stanton has started taking swings again. He's hitting off the projection machine, which is basically you could throw whatever pitcher, arm angle, whatever. He's hitting off the projection machine right now after attempting to come back from the elbow tendonitis or the tennis elbow. So yeah, we'll see what happens. They've already, like I've said before, they're saying that this is something he's gonna have to deal with until he does decide to eventually get that surgery that he likely would need. So there was a little bit of controversy of people saying, oh, Stanton was using the new bats, the torpedo bats, in the playoffs last season, and that's why he has. That's not why. If you guys can follow Giancarlo Stanton, you follow him around. He lifts a lot of weights, heavy weights as well. I'm not saying it's from that either because I'm not a doctor and I truly don't know, but like I would think it'd be that before a baseball bat, to be completely honest with you, just because you kind of change the shape of the bat. But they're still expecting him back sometime, probably middle May. I'm going to assume middle May, maybe end of May. I'm thinking more June likely, unless they decide to just give him only a couple rehab games and then throw him back in. But we shall see. Anyways, moving on. Clark Schmidt had his first rehab outing, threw 3 1/3. I don't think he gave up any runs. He didn't walk any, and he struck out 7. He threw 46 pitches and had 11 swing and misses. He looked phenomenal. So that's really, really good to hear. He will probably take over that 5th spot, either replacing Warren or Carrasco. I'm thinking likely what they're going to do is move Warren to the bullpen and either release or send down whoever they got to send down out there in the bullpen. So, but that is nice to hear. I believe he's making one more rehab start, and then he'll be recalled to the MLB. So I think they were saying April 15th or 16th. So we'll see what happens. We're going to see likely 2 more starts by Carrasco and 1 more by Warren before Schmidt comes back and gets his first start. So we'll see what they decide to eventually do based upon that. But so everything else seems about this. Tim Meza, I believe he had a hamstring. I don't remember what injury he had, but he's on his way back. Loizaca's working his way back. They're saying middle May, so you'll get a really, really good guy out there in the bullpen, which will really definitely help, because I think the top half of our bullpen's a little weak right now, so that'll be nice. And I believe that's all worth mentioning as of now for the injured list. Maybe DJ LeMahieu calf, but who cares? I don't think anybody really wants to see LeMahieu Peraza looked, his last at bat today looked horrible. I just watched his last at bat, struck out, but kept that ninth inning going, allowing the Yankees to end up tying the game. So the Yankees they look good. Offense looks phenomenal. Pitching looks like a weak spot. I don't know if maybe All-Star break instead of if the offense keeps rolling like this, I don't see them going out and getting anybody else unless an injury of course happens, of course. I see them likely gonna go get a starting pitcher in like the sense of maybe the Mariners are 10 games below 500 by the All-Star break. They have a prolific starting rotation. Maybe they're looking to get a couple prospects back and willing to give up one of those starters. Maybe we go out and get something like that. I don't really know where they go from here. So again, only 9 games in the season. Yankees stay 6-3 even though I thought the game was over, whatever. But we'll see what happens in that case. So I just want to say Judge is amazing, probably the best player in the MLB. He is the best player in MLB when Ohtani's not pitching. Ohtani isn't pitching, so Judge is the best player in the MLB. 6 home runs in the first 9 games, or maybe it was 7. 6 home runs in the first 9 games, over 1,000 OPS, hitting over 300. Maybe he might have dropped, probably still hitting over 300. He went 0 for 4 today. He got intentionally walked in the top of the 10th, but it's Aaron Judge. There's nothing more to expect. I heard they were talking about, is he underrated? Do we underappreciate him maybe? I mean, when you compare him to guys like Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, and I don't really think you underappreciate a talent. As of such, I think he's just doing something a lot of us have never seen before, especially most of guys my age, early 20s, maybe older teens, kids starting to get into baseball now. Maybe even a year or two older than that, a couple years older than me. Never got to watch Barry Bonds play. We all missed out in the steroid era. The best we got of the steroid era is A-Rod's end of his career, him being a kind of a scumbag. But I mean, we've never really seen anything like this. The best I can compare this to is when Josh Hamilton was in his prime, like those 3 years he had the Rangers where he was just out of this world, and that's the best I can compare. And at that point I was 7, I think maybe 8 years old when that was happening. I wasn't really into baseball like I am now, so this is something different. None of us have seen this. This is like when Mike Trout was in his prime, except better. I mean, Aaron Judge his numbers have been better. I mean, Trout has the average. Trout definitely has the base running and all that, but it's really cool to see something like this, and even better is that he's a Yankee, of course. Almost was a Giant, but he's a Yankee, of course, and that's nice. So we got year starts off great. We got a tough one coming in Detroit, mostly because of the weather. They ended up changing the 3 games. They're all changed to day games. I believe 3:10 and then 1 o'clock, 1:30, either 1 o'clock, 1:30, 1:30, something in that range. But yeah, gonna be a tough one. Tigers pitching is good. They got good starting pitching, got a good bullpen. Their lineup is pretty decent. I mean, they were a playoff team last year. We're probably gonna be a playoff team again. I think they probably win the Central this year. Maybe. Twins suck. I mean, so yeah, obviously you got the Guardians. We'll see. I think the Tiger. That's for something different. This is Vinny Talks Yanks. This is Vinny Talks Yanks. But Tigers are good, and we're going into a very cold environment. So speak up for Cody Bellinger. I didn't really put him on the injury thing because he's back already, but he was saying that he thinks the cold in New York really hurt his back, and he was out for 2 games. With back stiffness. So we'll see how that affects him. I mean, again, I'm not too upset because Trent Grisham has been an absolute animal, and I think at this point you have to keep continuing. You have to continue to keep giving him at bats, and I think likely in these Detroit days you're going to see another Goldschmidt game off. You're going to see a Dominguez game off. Dominguez hasn't had I don't believe he's not started a game yet, so I think you're going to see Dominguez day off. Just keep getting Grisham in there. Maybe throw Bellinger at first. I don't think they're going to throw Bellinger at first though. Get probably another Judge DH day, but even if they give Bellinger or whoever they decide to give a day off to, you're going to see. I think you see Grisham in 2 out of 3 games this series. He's just been phenomenal. One thing I do want to say is the third base situation seems to be panning out okay. Game 1 of the Pittsburgh series, Cabrera has 3 hits, but then back-to-back lefties, so Boone decides to go to Peraza. Cabrera's weaker side is the right side, so they decide to go to Peraza. And Peraza, nothing overly amazing, but I believe he had 2 hits in the 2 games and a walk. Played good defense, so the third base spot looks to be panning out a lot better than a lot of us would have assumed it did. So, I want to say this: it's quite impressive how good they're hitting in the cold weather as well. I mean, look at Volpe, man. He's out in front of almost everything, and he's putting wood on the ball, and he's hitting well. Whether you want to say it's the torpedo bat or not, I mean, he's hitting the ball good. He's out in front. He's making good contact. I think Anthony Volpe he stepped up this year, and this is going to be his year where people recognize him for how good he is. He's continuously played insanely good defense. I mean, so good. Another highlight play again today, as if he had the other day. Him and Jazz just look like such a nice duo up the middle. It's really fun to watch Anthony Volpe play. Again, like I was saying before, most RBIs through the first 8 games in Yankees shortstop history, and we have definitely not had bums at shortstop throughout our history. Even Didi in those couple years was amazing. On obviously Derek Jeter, but I think it's gonna be a good year to watch, and I think this is the year he pulls out that All-Star. I think he not a starter, but I think he'll get a backup spot. Get a spot on the All-Star game roster, and he looks good. Granted, I mean, that's just a throw out there, honestly, because you have 2 of the best shortstops in the game, and Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. in the American League. So, but I think he maybe pulls one out this year. He looks really good, so I'm happy to continue to watch him play baseball and excel, especially excel. I think they're gonna keep sticking him in the lower half of the lineup. And again, the lower half of the lineup is another thing to mention. 8 home runs throughout the first games of the season. I mean, the Dodgers have a prolific lineup, and they've played 2 more games than the Yankees. Don't have as good as a lower lineup as we have statistically so far this season. 8 home runs from the lower half of the lineup. It's really good. The offense looks amazing, and I hope it continues to look like this because it's very enjoyable to watch. The pitching, on the other hand, I mean, Fried has definitely struggled. Rodon struggled a little bit, but he's only given up 3 runs in his 2 starts, so Rodon looks good. Fried's got a little more work, get a little more comfortable. He has to get that curveball back. Hasn't had a game. He's had 2 starts this year. I think he gets, if I'm not mistaken, he gets tomorrow's start. No, I'm sorry, Rodon gets tomorrow, and I think Fried's Wednesday, and Carrasco might be Tuesday. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked at the games to come yet. I really just wanted to recap on the 6 games, but I think the Yankees are in a good spot. They have shown that they are still the best team in the AL, even with Toronto getting out to a hot start, but they got shut down by the Mets, and the Mets pitching's horrible, so we know that Toronto's offense is not great. So sorry, I just have to throw a shot at Mets at every video. I hate the Mets, but I think this is something good to build off of, and it needs to stay consistent. The past 2 seasons, going from a season not even making the playoffs to then making it all the way to the World Series, we just need to continue to be consistent. The consistency has not been there. It's been a stretch of good baseball, and then 40 games, 50 games of decent subpar 500, and then the rest of the season were, at a 750, 651 percentage for the rest of the way out to either get that wild card spot or win the division. It's been like that since 2020. So I hope this year this is where we find our consistency and we continue to play good baseball. I know we're not going to win 8 out of 10 games every single time. There's going to be some 5 and 5s in there. There's going to be 4s and 6s in there. It has to stay consistent. You need to just consistently 7-3, 7-3, maybe an 8 and a 10. It's going to happen. You're going to go on a 4-6. Small slides are going to happen. That's just how it is. We're not the 98 Yankees, where I don't think they lost a series the entire season. I'm probably wrong, but that's just how it felt. Never even watched them. Just watched the highlights. They were insane. But consistency is key. Consistency is going to keep this team in first place. It's going to keep them in contention. Or not contention, but it's going to keep them in a good spot. Where we're not going to be like, oh, our pitching's elite, but our offense sucks. Or our offense is elite, but our pitching sucks. Because we've never seen the other side. We've always seen offense is just phenomenal no matter who we have other than 22. We're not going to bring up 22 and 23. Those were bad. But 24, 25, 21, offense was good. We just only had Garrett Cole. 2020 good. 19, 18, 17, going all the way. 16, I think we missed the playoffs. But it's just our offense have always been good. That's why we're called the Bronx Bombers. It's nice to... I want to see the other side of it. I want to see our pitching come together. Last year was supposed to be I think it was 22 is supposed to be we have the best rotation in baseball. Then comes 23, it's like, I'm sorry, not 22. 23 is like, we have the best rotation in baseball. Signing this, and that. And then 24, we're like, we signed Stroman as our 5. This is our year. And then, injuries happen. And, I'm sorry, that was 23, and then 24 was like, what are we going to do? And then we have Heel come and win the Rookie of the Year. We have Stroman pitch good in the first half, terrible in the second half. Cole coming back off injury, but he still pitched well. Clark Schmidt really stepped up. And then this year was like, oh my God, we got Max Fried to go along with Garrett Cole. We have Carlos Rodon as our 3. Heel as our 4, or probably Heel was probably going to be the 4. Rodon as our 4, and then Schmidt as our 5. Schmidt, that was like... we easily have one of the best rotations in baseball, 1, 2, or 3, and then of course injuries happen. So, hopefully when Clark comes back, it really forms it a little bit better. You have that guy towards the end of the rotation that you can still send out there and not expect more than 3 runs. Expect to throw a good game. So, but we'll see. That's on Matt Blake. That's on the pitching staff themselves to continuously going. We've worked the bullpen really hard to start the season. And I would like to see that slow down a little bit, see a couple more 6-inning out appearances. We've yet to get a guy to go. I think Rodon went into the 7th. I don't believe he recorded now in his first appearance. I'm probably wrong, but we need more of that length and reliability. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can get that, and that is probably where I'm going to stop today. So. We got the 3 games against Detroit, and then we go to San Francisco. Did we go to San Francisco? I don't know if we're home or away, but then we have San Francisco, 2 good teams who have started off well this year, and 2 teams, Giants really aren't expected to be great, but, Detroit's expected to be good. Giants have started off good, so next 2 series, I would like, Giants is home. Giants is in New York, but, because we went to San Francisco last year, but... This is the next step, and hopefully I'm looking for like a 4 out of 6 again, just like we did on this I think we went 3-3 on these last 6 games, but let's go for 4 out of 6 and get keep the ball moving, because it's looked good so far. But that's where I'm going to end it today. Thank you for listening. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and go Yankees.